A mega-sized mommy milker's 19-year-old girl is walking home late when a car suddenly approaches her. Before she can react, a hand yanks her inside, and the vehicle speeds off into the darkness. Inside are a group of repulsive lowlifes, the kind of guys who couldn't riz a corpse. So they decide to force their way to clap some cheeks tonight. But the ugly-faced driver starts panicking. He thought they were just picking up some girls, not literally. One of the thugs tells him to relax, saying he'll get his turn to clap her cheeks too, but he's more afraid of his own cheeks if the cops catch them. Before he can protest, the thug heads back to start clapping. Just then the driver slams the brakes abruptly, gasping for air as he declares he absolutely cannot continue. But it's the girl who emerges from the back, asking why he's stopped. They're operating on borrowed time. The guy remains frozen in terror, asking, "Weren't you supposed to be giggity back there?" She casually advises him not to look. She got a bit carried away and everyone ended up dead. She commands him to drive her to her intended destination, warning that any attempt to scream will result in him being choked by her plot. The guy's stomach churns violently while she conducts a phone conversation with someone called Mr. Shedu. He glances around and discovers human corpses scattered everywhere. Pure panic consumes him as he bolts from the scene. During his frantic escape, he notices an unusually pristine cleared area, and wonders why it's so meticulously maintained. A voice reaches his ears explaining, "That's because it's a ring arena." He spots a man standing nearby and desperately rushes toward him, pleading for assistance while frantically recounting everything that just happened. The stranger informs him that this sounds like the work of aetherianthrope, genetically modified humans possessing bestial traits that surpass mankind. The terrified guy screams back, asking what kind of nuts is he consuming to spout such insanity. This triggers the stranger's fury. His eyes blaze crimson while his body radiates golden energy, sprouting deadly fangs and razor claws. The guy nearly craps himself as the beast lunges. But before the strike lands, the girl from before jumps in and snatches him away. The Lion Man explains he was simply helping clean up the trash, but she says that he tried to clap her cheeks, so she isn't done with him yet. Her name is Hitomi, and she is about to throw down with the Lion Man, Leo. The odds? 100-0. Still, they force the driver to place a $10 million bet on her, without even asking. Leo questions whether this loser can even cover such a massive bet. She assures him that he's got plenty of organs the black market pays well. Terrified, the guy tries to flee, but in his panic, he accidentally grabs one of Hitomi's melons. She cold cocks him in the face, informing him he should feel grateful she's not slicing him into pieces like his friend. Leo leaps into the ring. The poor guy sits there, stunned, just trying to figure out what the hell is happening. Hitomi provides him a simple explanation. If she loses, he dies horribly. This revelation makes everything infinitely worse. How could a girl possibly defeat such a beast? But that's when her own transformation begins. Her body radiates energy while sprouting fur, extending claws and revealing savage fangs. She's half-beast as well. Hitomi advances toward the lion with mocking confidence, declaring that the King of Kings title has gathered dust long enough. She's here to claim the King Slayer title.
Nice.
However, Leo disrespectfully slams her against the wall, catching her mid-flight before unleashing a brutal punching combination. She attempts slashing counterattacks, but he effortlessly evades. She retaliates with a kick. He weaponizes her body like a baseball bat to crush vermin on the arena floor. Despite the girl's relentless determination, nothing proves effective against the lion's overwhelming superiority. He pursues with intent to pulverize her into crimson paste, but she doesn't even flinch at the incoming death blow. This fearlessness enrages him further, prompting a thunderous roar that reverberates throughout the arena, causing the terrified guy to collapse before attempting another escape. The roar represents the lion's method of establishing dominance and instilling terror in his prey. But suddenly, 3 of his claws vanish completely. He demands to know how she isn't paralyzed with fear after experiencing his intimidating roar. She spits out his severed claws nonchalantly, questioning what this fear concept even means. She's never experienced such an emotion in her entire existence. He insists this impossibility defies nature itself, demanding she reveal her beast identity. She is the Ratel, the world's most fearless creature that doesn't give a damn about any predators, including lions. She taunts the lion mercilessly, calling him not just hideous but a complete moron. This triggers the beast's fury as he lunges at her with savage intent, but Hitomi just stands there, completely unfazed. Then, with lightning speed, her fangs finds his arm before she launches skyward, leaving the lion crashing down in a spray of crimson. High above, a satellite feed captures every brutal moment, broadcasting to the elite gamblers who watch in stunned disbelief. One man in glasses declares that this is his masterpiece, the brute retell. Beside him, an old man nearby cackles, dragging his tongue across the screen as blood drips from Hitomi's face on the display. The junkyard has become a graveyard of broken and shattered bodies. The retell steps coldly over the guy's lifeless face as she delivers her revenge. That's what a rapist deserves. That's when his eyes snap open. It was all a nightmare. Back in his cramped apartment, his hand instinctively reaches out, only to find something unexpectedly soft and bouncy. It's her mommy milkers, and his terrified scream pierces the silence. She jolts awake, shooting him a deadly glare. Scream like that again, and I'll break your vocal cords. That's when it all comes flooding back. It wasn't a dream. Yesterday, after she took down the lion, she walked toward him, ready to erase the last witness. But instead of running, he'd thrown himself at her plot, hugging, desperately thanking her for saving his life. Then he nervously asks about her injuries. She's bleeding. They should treat those before they scar. That's when her phone rings. She picks it up and says she'll handle it. But whatever the caller says stops her in place. And that's how the guy was forced to show her back to his room for some reason. And they fall asleep from exhaustion after that wild night. She reassures him there's no need to worry. She was planning to leave anyway. But first, craving something sweet. She's transformed completely from the ferocious beast they witnessed yesterday into an adorable, ordinary girl. Without warning, she springs to her feet and bows deeply, apologizing profusely for yesterday's chaos. The guy starts to tell her it's fine, but realizes she's not addressing him at all. Her apology is directed at the person behind him, a man with glasses, Mr. Shedu. He gently pats Hitomi's head, praising her performance, and just like that, her entire demeanor shifts dramatically. Mr. Shedu takes a seat, and formally introduces himself as Hitomi's guardian. When the guy attempts his own introduction, Mr. Shedu cuts him off, Yuya Nomoto, before rattling off every intimate detail about his life, a chilling demonstration that Yuya is completely at their mercy. To lift the veil of confusion, Mr. Shedu reveals the truth behind yesterday's nightmare. It's an ancient underground fighting ring that's operated in shadows for centuries, controlled by the nation's 4 most powerful families. When war devastated the economy, they poured their resources into gene therapy engineering fights that became increasingly savage and merciless, giving birth to the therianthropes. This brutal spectacle now goes by killing bites, and Mr. Shedu ensures its seamless operation. They've already disposed of his friends' bodies, staging it as a tragic car accident. The weight of this revelation crushes Yuya, who bows his head apologizing. He had no idea that they were rapists. But Hitomi's rage flares as she calls him out to stop playing innocent. She's certain he was beating his meat in the driver's seat, but Yuya vehemently denies this accusation. This convinces Mr. Shedu to keep Hitomi close to him. He reveals his new role as the sole investor backing the retell, making her his personal bodyguard from this moment forward. Hitomi has no choice but to comply with his orders. Before departing, he hands Yuya a hefty bag of cash, his winnings from yesterday's deadly wager using his own body as collateral. Back at the apartment, Yuya can't wrap his head around the reality of holding 100 million, no matter how many times he recounts. When he asks why Hitomi doesn't attend school, she explains she took extended leave after some perverts tried to clap her and destroyed her uniform in the process. Then she hands him a shopping list. He protests, but she threatens to slice his meat up next. Walking back from errands, Yuya's mind races. He's got this incredible plot girl living with him now. He's gonna get laid soon for sure. That's when a stranger calls out to him. She approaches, claiming she needs him to examine something, leaving him completely bewildered. Without warning, she exposes her mommy milkers and asks him to check if anything looks abnormal. The desperate fool completely falls for this obvious trap. He doesn't realize the danger until something razor-sharp pierces his leg. This girl is a therianthrope. She demands payment for letting him see them. He must reveal everything about the brute retell. Yuya remains stubbornly silent, so she threatens him with double penetration next. That's when Hitomi's voice cuts through the tension from behind. Why don't you come ask me directly? Hitomi springs into action, effortlessly evading every attack before materializing behind her opponent. She taunts that using this loser as bait made drawing out enemies ridiculously easy. This provokes the girl into revealing her true beast form, a massive porcupine bristling with deadly quills that can pierce any predator. The porcupine's strategy was eliminating Hitomi's investor to disqualify her from killing bites, but Hitomi unveils her own transformation, mocking, "So you're basically a walking pincushion." Enraged, the porcupine launches her assault while Hitomi dances around the projectiles. Eventually cornered, she watches helplessly as her opponent leaps skyward, unleashing a devastating quill barrage that buries her in debris. Standing triumphantly, the porcupine mocks how someone so pathetic defeated Leah, then turns toward Yuya for the killing blow, but Hitomi's voice emerges from the dust, casually thanking her for the relaxing massage. The porcupine can't comprehend this. Her needles penetrate not just flesh, but solid metal. She doesn't realize that the Ratel's hide is so incredibly thick that only the chosen can penetrate her. Attempting another aerial assault, the porcupine finds herself caught mid-flight by Hitomi's devastating slash. They crash together, the porcupine's blood coating Hitomi's claws. Moving in for the kill, Hitomi stopped by Yuya's desperate plea against murder. The wounded porcupine seizes this moment, lunging for Yuya's throat, only to be shoulder-checked into the tree line by a massive figure. The newcomer shrugs off the embedded quills like splinters, his enormous frame making them appear utterly harmless. Approaching Hitomi, he asks if she's the Ratel who defeated Leo. Suddenly, he drops to his knees, begging her to aid his faction. Back at Yuya's apartment, the giant tends to his wounds with surprising gentleness. He should recover full mobility soon. Hitomi demands an explanation. He introduces himself as Ichinosuke Kajima, representing the Ishida Zaibatsu, one of the 4 ancient conglomerates controlling killing bites. He is here to recruit the Ratel as their ally. Hitomi immediately refuses. When he asks why, explaining that allies could help protect her investor and prevent future ambushes, she dismisses the entire proposition. She doesn't need anyone's help because she's already the strongest. This moment makes Yuya realize just how insufferably arrogant she truly is. Ratels are notorious for lurking around apex predators, brazenly stealing their kills, then acting outraged when confronted, as if they own the fucking world. Yuya attempts to explain that he'd prefer having multiple protectors, but this only fuels Hitomi's fury regardless of their reasoning. Suddenly, Yuya's phone chimes with an email notification, instantly shifting Hitomi's attitude. It's from Mr. Shedu. The big guy mistakenly assumes Yuya holds some kind of control over this wild Ratel. They both crash at Yuya's place, and now he can't even find a private moment to beat his meat at night. Come morning, Yuya awakens to an absolutely divine sight. Heaven's gates spread before him. Hitomi informs him that her orders require constant proximity, meaning she'll be accompanying him to college today. At campus, before lectures begin, Hitomi's friend approaches, the legendary protagonist every cultured man recognizes. Noticing Yuya's injured leg, his vast experience immediately identifies female involvement, prompting him to offer guidance on proper technique. Hitomi's voice suddenly cuts through. Who exactly is this guy? The guy is shocked to see a high school girl beside Yuya. Yuya has accomplished something that even him, the main character of countless anime, the man whose losers beat their meat watching him on action, the living legend himself, couldn't achieve, bringing a high schooler to lectures. Feeling utterly defeated, he retreats to the back rows, but Yuya takes pity on his fallen comrade and invites him to sit nearby. When lectures commence, Hitomi decides to pay attention, only to witness the reality of college life. The professor can barely speak coherently due to his advanced age, while students completely ignore the rambling presentation. Later in the bath, she reflects on this observation. These people are having an easier life than she had. Lost in contemplation, a girl's voice interrupts her thoughts. She spots someone watching from above and asks if she's enjoying the view from her perch. The girl introduces herself as Eruza, affiliated with the same Zaibatsu as yesterday's exhibitionist attacker. Hitomi mockingly asks if she wants to smash down here, but Eruza wouldn't mind that at all. In a flash, she snatches Hitomi's gate armor and leaps back. What truly catches Hitomi's attention isn't the theft. It's that Eruza dodged her point-blank counterattack and even had the chance to strike if she wanted. Eruza flees with her trophy while Hitomi gives chase. Outside, she collides with Yuya, granting him an unobstructed view of paradise itself. But Eruza taunts Hitomi to continue pursuing her. Her speed is so incredible that even Hitomi's transformed state struggles to match it. Suddenly, Eruza executes an impossible mid-air pivot and pounces on top of Hitomi. Her body undergoes rapid transformation. She's a cheetah, the fastest land mammal. She can't fathom how Hitomi defeated Leo, lacking both power and speed, with even her vaunted defense showing obvious weaknesses. Lunging for a killing blow, blood suddenly sprays as she recoils in shock, clutching her wounded hand. Hitomi spits out flesh and rises, declaring that raw power and speed mean nothing. Only the creature with the sharpest fangs claims victory. These words send Eruza into a frenzy. She's ready to eat Hitomi completely. Unable to contain her lust any longer, charging forward at full speed, a massive tree suddenly crashes down, blocking her path. A man in sunglasses appears alongside a bear-like figure. He explains to Eruza that Hitomi has temporarily joined one of the Zaibatsu, qualifying her for the Killing Bites Destroyal. With the competition just 1 week away, all participants are forbidden from engaging each other until then. But suddenly Hitomi launches an assault on him, only to find herself confronting the bear-like figure instead. Without hesitation, she attacks him as well, but Eruza intervenes to stop the chaos. Hitomi's motivation was simple: eliminate the loudmouth who talks too much trash. The man leaps down from his tree perch and departs, having successfully delivered his message. From a distant vantage point, mysterious observers study Hitomi's cheeks intently. They've been contracted to assassinate the Reitel who defeated Leo during the Destroyal competition. But first, they're contemplating some personal entertainment with her. Later at the manga club, members are stunned to see Yuya, accompanied by 2 gorgeous girls. They're convinced he successfully assembled his own personal harem. Jealousy consumes them as the girls begin bickering, their argument rapidly escalating into a full-blown verbal war. The situation deteriorates so badly that even the legendary protagonist feels compelled to intervene. Ro ain't letting these cheeks go this easy after they entered the wolf den. He drags his weapon out. Not his usual mind control device this time, but a request for cute maid cosplay complete with cat ears. Yuya reluctantly agrees to this compromise to protect the girls. Eruza uses this moment to school the bloodthirsty Reitel some tricks, but Yuya accidentally discovers that Hitomi still hasn't restored her gate armor yet. Panic sets in as he bolts outside immediately. Unfortunately, he witnesses the legend rallying every cultured gentleman on campus, just as the girls emerge ready for their photo session. It doesn't take long for these connoisseurs to capture some spectacular shots, while Yuya observes something unexpected. Hitomi's facial expression suggests she's actually enjoying the attention. On their way home, Eruza informs Yuya she's borrowing Hitomi for some quality girl time, reassuring him of his safety. Nobody can touch him until the Destroyal event concludes. Back at Yuya's apartment, he gets horrified once he sees Leo waiting inside, especially with Hitomi absent. But a girl's voice commands Leo to step aside, claiming he's intimidating their host. She introduces herself as the granddaughter of the Mitsukato Saibatsu president, Yuzan, representing one of the 4 families controlling Killing Bites. Getting straight to business, she requests his withdrawal from the Destroyal event. Yuya remains completely clueless since Hitomi hasn't briefed him on any details. The girl continues, explaining that their honorable battlefield has been corrupted into a testing ground for the despicable Shido. She urges withdrawal to prevent the Reitel's death. Yuya doesn't understand the full scope, but recognizes he's entangled in something deadly serious. One wrong move could cost him everything. Finally, she reveals the truth. The Destroyal isn't a traditional one-on-one battle, but a brutal battle royale, where he'll participate as the Reitel's controller, functioning like a chess master directing her movements. At a nearby cafe, Eruza warns Hitomi that a single mistake from her pathetic companion could result in her death. Hitomi dismisses these concerns confidently. The strong naturally dominate the weak, so she'll move however she pleases with him. Back at the apartment, the girl awaits Yuya's response, but he explains he cannot withdraw without Hitomi's consent or face her lethal wrath. This answer proves sufficient for the girl's departure. She couldn't tolerate his stupidity any longer, fearing it might somehow contaminate her intelligence. Outside, she confronts the elderly man and questions why he's allowing Shido such free rein. The old man is her grandfather, explaining he's merely testing Shido's capabilities, as this particular Destroyal battle promises unprecedented brutality. Simultaneously, the Ishida Saibatsu president showers Mr. Shido with praise and gratitude, while Shido sits motionless like a calculating predator, completely unresponsive. The man's wife keeps her gaze fixed intently on Shido. After Hitomi returns, Yuya rushes to question her, but she cuts him off, announcing their participation in the Killing Bites Destroyal alongside their rotund ally. However, one critical problem remains. The Destroyal requires 3-person teams, meaning they must recruit 1 additional member. Unfortunately, most potential recruits rejected their offers outright. The Ishida Zaibatsu lacks sufficient resources to attract elite talent, while rival Zaibatsus actively sabotage their recruitment efforts. But hope isn't completely lost. One remaining beast hasn't joined any team yet, and with tomorrow's deadline looming, they have one final opportunity to make this work. Meanwhile, 2 girls were enjoying some intimate quality time when their phone interrupted the festivities. The caller informed them of a small assignment scheduled for tomorrow. The following day, they discover their last prospect is female, giving Yuya momentary optimism. He tries reassuring himself that she must possess incredible power when transformed, like Hitomi. Reality hits hard. She's a rabbit. Her record shows nothing but devastating losses in every Killing Bites match, with her sole talent being excavating escape tunnels. Naturally, she's terrified of joining the Destroyal, knowing she'd become nothing more than premium food for other beasts. Hitomi steps forward to handle the persuasion. She explains that everyone excels at something. The rabbit's voluptuous figure would create the ultimate thick bait in combat history. The rabbit immediately refuses and flees the scene. Hitomi then threatens Yuya to pursue her and secure her participation, cause losers understand each other. Yuya tracks her down at the local park, offering carrot juice as a peace gesture. Unsure how to change her mind, he lets her open up naturally. She confesses to being a complete failure at everything she's attempted. When the opportunity to become a therianthrope arose, she thought she'd finally excel at something. Instead, she became a pathetic rabbit, perfectly matching her loser genetics. Something suddenly shoots the juice from her hands, sending her scrambling behind a tree, assuming it's Yuya, but discovers a lizard girl instead, specifically a horned lizard capable of projectile blood attacks from her eyes. The rabbit dodges these assaults while frantically digging escape holes, but gets struck again. Panicked by the blood, she sprints with surprising speed for someone with her thick assets. The lizard girl catches up effortlessly, leaving the rabbit wondering how she matches her speed. Suddenly, the lizard girl leaps away from an incoming attack. Hitomi has arrived. Without hesitation, she launches her counter-offensive, but gets peppered by shots from multiple angles, rather than just the eyes, forcing her to fall back while shielding the rabbit. Witnessing this protection, the rabbit uses her enhanced hearing to scan the area, detecting a second attacker positioned behind them. Hitomi rapidly hurls a crowbar at the hidden threat, then capitalizes on the opening to slash both opponents. Finally, Yuya and Fatty catch up to find Hitomi carrying the injured girl. She reassures everyone that she didn't deliver fatal wounds. One attacker regains consciousness, and it turns out that they're twin sisters. Hitomi proposes a deal with the Alabama girls. She won't report this incident if they claim the rabbit girl defeated them. They readily agree to this arrangement. The rabbit girl is absolutely ecstatic. Finally, she has achieved victory. She's no longer a loser like Yuya, while announcing to the world to watch out. She's coming. The next day, an elegant high society gathering brings together everyone involved with the Killing Bites competition, providing opportunities for socializing and competitor assessment. The brute Leo, recently humiliated by Hitomi, makes his entrance and announces his withdrawal from participation. But it takes Hitomi a moment to recall a fodder for her anime introduction. A man named Taiga, obviously destined to be the tiger unless you're another idiot as Yuya, appears to express his disappointment with Leo's cowardice, calling him pathetic for running away. His sister Aruza attempts diplomatic intervention, but Hitomi interjects, branding them both worthless. She could handle Taiga just as easily. Taiga refuses such obvious bait, dismissing her entirely while declaring the upcoming event mere child's play. With the flair of a noble, Leo kisses Mitsukado's hand, something that doesn't escape Yuya's gaze. After additional social maneuvering, the party's main event commences with rule explanations. 3-member teams representing each Zaibatsu will engage in lethal survival combat on a primitive island. The simplified version, whenever teams occupy the same grid location, regardless of numbers, battle becomes mandatory. During this briefing, their unfortunate thick rabbit teammate wanders into what appears to be a crime scene, seemingly about to become the next victim herself. The disgusting pervert who can't control his and his pants gets interrupted, but these newcomers turn out to be his criminal accomplices. They're even on the same team. Suddenly, Hitomi appears, creating an escape opportunity for the bunny girl. After some typical villain banter, the budget villains decide to save their confrontation for the actual battlefield. Elsewhere, Leo appears to be orchestrating his own schemes despite officially withdrawing from participation. As the event preparations conclude, sponsors take their observation seats while therianthropes gear up for combat. A team of officials must specifically explain tournament rules to the exhibitionist battle maniac Hitomi, emphasizing that she must obey her sponsor's commands or face explosive consequences from her neck collar. In the sponsor's lobby, they direct their factions across territories like chess masters, using dice rolls to determine movement options. Mitsukado doesn't miss any opportunity to berate the pathetic Yuya about his complete inexperience. Yuya ends up rolling a 6, causing every other sponsor to smirk internally. They're convinced this absolute amateur will waste such a perfect opportunity. Suddenly, Yuya makes the exact optimal decision they all had in mind, completely dropping their jaws. It turns out our not-so-brilliant protagonist arranged to follow whatever signals Hitomi provides. She dubbed it the "don't use your fucking brain" operation. This display leaves sponsor Mr. Shinada further impressed with Hitomi, while Mitsukato feels ashamed to share oxygen with the useless Yuya, who can't think independently yet keeps grinning stupidly. Apparently, Raidals excel as versatile survivors, capable of navigating unknown territories even in complete darkness. Meanwhile, from the shadows emerges a revolting bastard challenging Hitomi. She doesn't recognize him until his transformation reveals the bear. With that, the island's first battle commences as spectators go absolutely wild. This ugly bastard's appearance before Hitomi wasn't coincidental. Leo orchestrated this encounter to eliminate her. He discovered the battle junkie's paranoia makes her refuse dodging attacks from perceived weaklings, and this category applies to everyone. Leo suggested the bastard clap her with maximum force immediately. Instead, she claps first, sending the bear crashing down like every other loser, leaving everyone speechless with shock. Following their initial encounter, the ugly bastard left quite an impression, and she came prepared this time. On the battlefield's opposite side, the fatty suddenly gets ambushed from behind. Taiga smugly assumes victory until Fatty rises and transforms into a massive hippo. While maintaining his bravado, he secretly worries about that attack's incredible speed. That's when Glasses, one of Leo's conspirators, and the budget villain's leader appear. The hippo quickly realizes their sponsors struck a deal to gang up on Taiga for his elimination. The budget villain's leader decides to challenge Taiga solo, transforming it into a formidable crocodile. The crocodile lunges at Taiga, who dodges and delivers a devastating tackle. But before finishing the job, his opponent escapes. Round 2 begins with elaborate footwork and exchanged blows, until Taiga gets blindsided by Four Eyes Gorilla's sneak attack. As Crocodile Guy questions Four Eyes for interfering, Taiga delivers a crushing uppercut, amplifies his speed, and blindsides Crocodile Guy with an unexpected assault. He makes certain everyone understands they're all his prey. The jungle remains a tiger's natural domain after all. While everyone still marvels at Taiga's spectacular moves, his sponsor Mr. Shinada plots, like a four-dimensional chess grandmaster. Meanwhile, on another battlefield, Taiga's sister Iruza pursues one of the budget villains. She thinks victory is assured until suddenly getting coiled and violated by a snake, another budget villain's gang member. Attempting escape, she bites down on the snake guy, but he slams her brutally to the ground. Still struggling to regain footing, the disgusting trio's female member punches her gut, declaring her only option is begging for mercy, which she doesn't guarantee will provide salvation. On the battlefield's other side, Taiga finally focuses on the rotund opponent. Just as battle begins, Mr. Shinada redirects him to another location to assist his sister. As Taiga prepares following orders, Crocodile Guy emerges from nowhere, clamping down on Taiga's leg and preventing compliance with commands. Seizing this opportunity, the crocodile executes his signature twister maneuver, severely damaging Taiga. The real four-dimensional chess master proves to be the budget villain sponsor, who masterminded Iruza's ambush to bait Mr. Shinada into moving his strongest piece, creating the opportunity to restrain Taiga and trigger his explosive collar through command non-compliance. Now it's Yuya's turn to act, with everyone's tacit acknowledgement of the current situation and all eyes focused on him. Hitomi waits with eager anticipation. At Iruza's location, the budget villains use her as a warm-up punching bag before leaving her to the snake guy for his clapping ceremony. Even though he doesn't prefer small melons, he can use her as a warm-up since someone interrupted him before. But suddenly, they look up to see a dark figure observing them menacingly.